What's up, Internet? My name is Attack Slug, and welcome to my Monday Night Raw reactions for the week of January 18th, 2016. And I swear I'm going to get the name of this video file right this week. Finally, 3 weeks into this year. Anyway, let's talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw, the third Raw of 2016, and the go-home show for the Royal Rumble match, which is this Sunday evening. Anyway, as WWE tends to do a lot of the time, is they bring out their face to explain to you what is happening, what has been happening, what is the current situation, etc., etc. And some guys are okay at that, and a lot of guys are bad at that. Roman Reigns, not very good at that. Randy Orton was also just kind of over-explained everything as a face. He was just not very good. Anyway, so out comes Roman Reigns to explain what's going on. That brings out Chris Jericho, who apparently does not know how to wear a shirt anymore, and just wears a suit jacket with no shirt, because that's cool or something. I don't know, it's dumb. This is kind of like, you kind of saw two sides of Jericho this evening, and this was the side that I did not particularly care for, because it was lame. And then out comes the League of Nations, and they all kind of spew their own, hey, we should be in, because they're setting up for the main event. The main event's the highlight reel, right? So, the highlight reel is going to be Jericho hosting, obviously, and then he wants Reigns and he wants Lesnar, both in the highlight reel. That'll make for a good bit of TV, right? They're going to do things. Okay, League of Nations wants to be in the highlight reel, and honestly, most of that's laughable, but hey, Sheamus did win a Rumble, and Del Rio did win the largest Rumble in history. So, those two guys have something. Rusev was the guy who got knocked out by Reigns last year, when Reigns won. And Barrett has done nothing of consequence for the past, I don't know how long, and he's hurt, so whatever. But the shining thing here in this whole shit show of a 20-minute just droning segment, the shining little thing to focus on here is how fucking awesome that Rusev is with everything he does. Seriously, like, he's the one thing I look forward to at this point outside of the New Day, because he's taking shit and he's spinning it into gold. He's like, in Bulgaria, I had to throw everybody else off the bus to get a bus ride. It's great. He's fantastic. Anyway, that sets us up to Roman Reigns versus Rusev. A match we've seen, what, like 8,000 times on SmackDown, as the first match of the show, and Chris Jericho as the special guest referee. Guess what? He had to wear a shirt, so that was funny. But seriously, like, they wonder why guys have been getting hurt left or right is you're overworking the fuck out of them. There is no reason, there is no singular reason to have Roman Reigns, your champion, curtain jerk and work the first match of the show. It is unnecessary. You don't have to do it. He shouldn't be having a match until the Rumble, until he's in the Rumble. Apparently, he's having a 3-on-1 match on SmackDown. Like, what are you doing? You wonder why everyone's getting hurt. It's dumb. Anyway, Chris Jericho he gets fucking crazy here. He's just throwing guys out and doing cartwheels and being a maniac and whatever else. And obviously, Roman Reigns wins the match. So, we got a bit in the back after that with Chris Jericho and Stephanie. Obviously, they have a long-standing wrestling thing, and it's always nice when they acknowledge sweetness, when they acknowledge long-standing wrestling things. But the most significant thing here is Chris Jericho admitting that he wishes it was 1999. In terms of wrestling, Chris, we all do. We all wish wrestling was as great as it was in 99, and the fan base was there, and it was just fucking fire hot and everything else. But unfortunately, it's 2016. Anyway, then we go on to the first Divas match of the evening, which is Brie Bella versus Natalya. And Natalya brings out Paige, and I guess Paige is a face now? I don't know, the crowd went mild, so it kind of was, I don't know, I'm glad to see Paige, you know, she apparently had a slight concussion, so the only reason that this happened was because they've got the premiere of the next season of Total Divas is happening, so obviously you had to bring out your stars of Total Divas, a show I've never watched, and will never watch. So, Yeah, you had Brie versus Natalia. Natalia won. I think she won. Honestly, it was your usual 2-minute Diva Nothing match, of which there were 2 tonight. So yeah, so much for that revolution, right, guys? At least they aren't in 6-person tag matches anymore. Anyway, next match. Speaking of going round and round, round and round and round it goes, and where it stops, nobody knows. The Wyatts fought the Dudleys and Ryback. Like, I understand they're having guys that should be in the Rumble having matches because they're trying to build for the Rumble, but holy shit, do I not care about the Wyatts versus the Dudleys or Ryback in any capacity anymore for any reason. And the Wyatts win, and whatever. The only significant thing that I see now is that Luke Harper does his discus clothesline, and it's like, I have an arm! I have an arm! And just holds it there for a while. But whatever. Anyway, after that was this match, which was the Big Show versus Heath Slater, and of course Slater coming out with the Social Outcasts, who are getting better. As much as I shit on the Outcasts that first week for having that weird off the chain promo, they're getting better. They're learning what their strengths are as a group, and I can get behind them as a faction. I thought it was hilarious when they were going to give Bo the mic, and the Heath Slater just grabs it from Bo Dallas. That was pretty funny. I think they're hopefully getting back on the right track with Curtis Axel, but I need more of that. Please don't change the channel from Curtis Axel. That was pretty funny when he was doing that before. Anyway, predictably, Big Show just knocked them all out. There was a great bit with Bo Dallas avoiding the knockout punch, doing his victory lap, and running into a knockout punch. So that was pretty good. Anyway, next came the longest, what felt like as much as the as much as the opening segment there felt like a fucking eternity. Holy shit, Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon turning the Royal Rumble tumbler, that thing with all the balls in it, turning that tumbler and drawing Roman Reigns as the number 1 entrant in the Royal Rumble like 3 times, and it just kept going. Like, that could have been done in 5 minutes, and it just kept going. They made a Powerball joke about a week too late. The only thing here that I felt like was probably unscripted and was actually kind of funny was Stephanie making a joke about when Vince was just so bad at that McMahon's Millions thing from a couple years back. Like, that was like, okay, I laughed at that because that seemed, like she got kind of off the top of her head with that stuff. Anyway, that could have been scripted. I don't know. Anyway, get him, Bo. Get him, Bo. I need some water here. Anyway, yeah, so that took forever. We get it. He's going to be number 1. Like, that was one of those things that my friends had been saying for a couple of weeks now. All right, we have a couple of weeks before the Rumble. How can they continue to stack the deck against Roman Reigns? The logistical thing is that he's going to get number 1. Now, I have, obviously, a number of complaints with this in how this match is going to play out. Certainly because, sure, you're getting most of these crowds behind Roman Reigns. Most of these Raw crowds. You got to understand, pay-per-view crowds are made up of the hardcore who are going to pay those exorbitant ticket prices to show up, and those fans who are willing to pay a couple of grand for a front row seat at the Rumble are going to boo the fuck out of Roman Reigns. You got to understand that. That's how wrestling works at pay-per-views, especially at the Rumble and at WrestleMania. Look at last year. Anyway, I'll get into more of that in my Royal Rumble predictions. Hopefully this Friday, if the snowstorm doesn't knock out my fucking power. Anyway, that segment took forever. And Reigns is number 1 in the Rumble. So, next Divas match was Tamina, oh god, and Becky Lynch. And again, just kind of a pointless little 2-minute, like, It's a testament to the skill of Becky Lynch, where she makes Tamina look like an almost competent wrestler, for as terrible as I usually give Tamina shit on just being not good at her job after she's been there for so fucking long. She's just still kind of bad. And obviously Becky wins, but the the significant part of this is that Flair and Charlotte are at ringside, and that Charlotte does not want to give Becky a shot at her title at the Rumble, and then Becky insults Flair, and Flair says, yeah, she'll defend it. Now, if you want to say if you want to say that Ric Flair is a senile old man, that is certainly an argument to make for his current character, considering how he tries to dance to the ring to her theme song and whatever else. He's doing his little Flair strut, like the fucking... Okay, that's fine. But Flair reacting to being called a coward when that was, like, literally his gimmick. Like, he formed the Four Horsemen to avoid getting into matches and avoiding dealing with that shit. Like, his whole thing was that he was a heel, and he was a cowardly heel. That was his whole thing. That was literally his whole thing for most of his career. I think Bo just got ejected there. So, him getting, reacting to that is kind of fucking hilarious. Anyway, that makes that a title match at pay-per-view. Whatever. So, on to the next match that kind of was exceedingly pointless and very SmackDown-ish in its nature was Sheamus and Del Rio fought Ambrose and Kalisto, because apparently with Sin Cara gone, Kalisto will just team with anybody. Like, I'm a tag team guy. Like, what? All that shit you built from last week, having Kalisto win the U.S. title and then lose it on SmackDown, and now he's in a fucking dumbass tag team match. You've just squandered it. You fucking squandered it. The only shining star here in this whole segment was Kevin Owens on commentary, giving the rest of the announced team shit. That was great. Thumbs up. Kevin Owens is pretty much the best heel in the company right now. Anyway, the New Day in one of the other 3 count. So the New Day in one of the other actually entertaining segments on this episode of Raw was having a memorial service for Francesca the Trombone, who was broken at the hands of Chris Jericho last week, which I said should have been a pay-per-view thing, not a fucking Raw thing. Anyway, yeah, so then that was fantastic. If you don't watch anything else from Raw, just watch that one segment and you'll be good. Then we get Big E versus Jey Uso. So that thing set up, I guess, Big E versus Jey Uso, and Big E won here. I don't really have anything else to say about this. It's kind of just standard Raw, whatever. The next thing, you see Mark Henry, R-Truth, and Titus O'Neil backstage, I guess doing some kind of MLK thing, because obviously it was MLK Day. But then, Neville wants in? That was weird. There was that one time at a pay-per-view where it was a team of, what was it, MVP and R-Truth and somebody, and then, Christian, it was Shad Gaspard and JTG in there too, and then Christian was the 5th guy. And he's like, I know what you're saying, I'm different, because I'm Canadian. That was pretty funny. Anyway, Neville was just there, and I guess they were going out and having a match. And again, this is a thing where they all go out and do stuff to push the fact that the Rumble's going to happen. And here are the guys who might be in the Rumble. Seriously, the Ascension being in the Rumble is such a fucking waste of a spot when this Rumble is for the world fucking title. It's for the world title! Anyway, so, it is Henry, Neville, Truth, Titus versus Ascension, Tyler Breeze. Holy shit, have they dropped the fucking ball on Tyler Breeze, and Stardust. Also, where the hell was Dolph Ziggler all night? What the fuck? Anyway, it was your typical 8-man tag. They've been having a lot of 8-man tags. Obviously, the Rumbles, all these guys are going to be in the Rumbles, supposedly. So, there's that. And then, obviously, the faces win. The only thing to mention here is that they botched a thing where Titus was going to throw Breeze over his head. Henry was supposed to catch him, World Strong slam him, and then the Red Arrow, but he missed him. He went over his head. That was pretty funny. Anyway, main event is the highlight reel, and like I said earlier in the evening was the Chris Jericho I didn't particularly care for. This main event, Chris Jericho going back and forth with Paul Heyman, was a lot better. Chris Jericho still has the ability to be entertaining on a number of levels. I think it is hilarious that Chris Jericho thinks he's the 3rd biggest name in this Rumble, although obviously, with all these guys who are hurt, he's probably right. But when you're Reigns, Lesnar, Jericho. Like, that is weird. It was unusual. They didn't play the clip. They mentioned it, but they didn't play the clip of when Jericho was going to have that match against Lesnar on Raw. Lesnar no-sold the code breaker and then just F5'd his ass. Anyway, after that, out comes Reigns, and then, or no, out comes Lesnar, out comes Reigns, out comes, or yeah, there's a spear, out comes League of Nations, there's some suplex cities, there's another spear, and then out comes the Wyatt family to end the show, which was really weird. And they attacked Lesnar and Reigns. They attacked Lesnar a bunch. Like, Lesnar should not be selling offense from Eric fucking Rowan. That should never be happening. Like, what are you doing? And then just the crowd boos, and they're doing their little upside down four horsemen thing, and then that was the end of that. So, weird ending to this Raw. Like, that's your go home show for the Rumble. Like, weird ending. So, anyway, I will get into more stuff Friday. Hopefully, if I have power, I'll get into more stuff Friday in my Rumble predictions videos. Look forward to that. But until then, until next time, I'll see you next time. I'm Attack Slug, and I'm out.